David Lynch's whole career erupted with this one scene from his first movie, Eraserhead. Yes, I am talking about the baby reveal in Eraserhead. You might have experienced those weird nightmares that make no sense but keep you disturbed for a day or even a week. Eraserhead is a visual representation of that nightmare. The only difference is that Eraserhead actually has some meaning, especially the disturbing baby reveal scene that haunts the audience to this day. Before we get started, let me warn you, there are going to be some spoilers, so if you haven't seen Eraserhead, please go see it. How have you not seen this film? It's an absolute surrealist fever dream that will keep you uncomfortable the whole movie. Eraserhead is directed by David Lynch, and this was his first feature-length film back in 1977. Shot over several years with a tiny budget, the film became a cult classic largely due to its nightmarish atmosphere and bizarre imagery. Jack Nance takes the main lead as Henry Spencer, the quiet, nervous man at the center of this creepy world. Nance, who worked closely with Lynch throughout his career, delivers a performance that's both awkward and deeply haunting. Charlotte Stewart plays Mary, Henry's anxious girlfriend, while Laurel Neer takes on the ethereal role of the mysterious lady in the radiator. Now, the cast may be small, but each performance adds to the film's disturbing, dreamlike quality, making Eraserhead one-of-a-kind cinematic experience. The main plot follows a man who is struggling with his romantic relationship and the birth of his first child. However, the movie's horror approach turns into something else. Alright, let's break this movie down. Eraserhead is the kind of film that doesn't hold your hand. It throws you into a bizarre, unsettling world that lets you figure it out for yourself. Our main character is Henry Spencer, who stumbles through this industrial nightmare. Henry is an awkward, quiet man with a big Kramer-esque hair and even bigger sense of discomfort. He lives in a tiny, dimly lit apartment in a city that feels lifeless. The buildings look like they've been crumbling, strange mechanical sounds fill the air, and there's a feeling that something is very, very wrong, but you can't point it out. The movie's black and white contrast with the gritty music leave you feeling like your insides need a shower. The beginning is so surreal with the overlaying images of the moon and Henry's head, you really don't have any grip of where the movie is actually going, until you meet the girlfriend and her extremely awkward parents that feel so relatable and uncomfortable. As soon as Henry sits down at the dinner table, Mary's mother starts asking him awkward questions, making him uncomfortable. But things don't end here. The food he's being served isn't normal either. It's a tiny, strange chicken that suddenly starts oozing blood and twitching on Henry's plate. The whole scene is filled with creepy silences, unsettling close-ups, and weird, forced small talk. It's like a family dinner in hell. Suddenly, Henry is forcefully taken to a corner by Mary's mother, who starts touching him inappropriately. Afterward, she reveals some big news. Mary has given birth to his child. Now, normally this would be a moment of joy or shock, but there's a weird tension in the air because Henry didn't even know Mary was pregnant. Before he can recover from the shock from the first bombshell, Mary's mom drops another one. The baby was born premature. And it's not exactly normal. In fact, even the doctors didn't know if it was a human baby at all. This gives you a strange Jesus-like comparison. The mother named Mary, the baby born when we really didn't see the characters involved in any coitus, and from Henry's expression, maybe they didn't. Despite these circumstances, Mary's mother expects her daughter to get married with Henry and take care of the baby like responsible parents should. No wedding ceremony takes place, but Mary moves into Henry's apartment and they start looking after the baby. Even in normal circumstances, taking care of a newborn isn't easy, and in this case, the baby is more like a tiny monster. He has a deformed, bald head and a weak body covered in bandages. On top of that, he doesn't eat anything and keeps crying unstoppably. This first look at the baby is terrifying, and it's what I'm talking about when I say it set a tone for Lynch's career. The fear of fatherhood and dealing with the tiny little monster he just created and is now left with, that's a horror in and of itself when the child is healthy and normal. But this kid is something that looks like it was dug out of a sewer drain.
In heaven, everything is fine.
Henry does his best trying to take care of his newborn child, but eventually feels the need to get a better look at what's under the wraps covering the baby's body. As soon as Henry cuts off the bandages, he figures out the baby doesn't have skin at all. His inner organs were held together by bandages. While staring at the beating heart of the baby, Henry gets even more crazy. He decides to end his problems by getting rid of the baby. Without thinking much, Henry uses the scissors to stab the baby's heart. The poor baby screams in pain and blood squirts out of his mouth. Afterward, the organs start oozing a weird liquid that covers the body. The house wires short circuit and the lights start to flicker. Henry looks away in disgust, but when he turns back, he finds the baby's head hanging at the end of an elongated neck and spitting a liquid on the wall nearby. The moment Henry first lays eyes on his child is one of the most haunting scenes in Eraserhead. Up until this point, we know something is off, but nothing prepares us for what's inside of the bundle of cloth. The horrific design of the baby, in constant whimpering, and the sheer discomfort of watching Henry trying to get rid of it create a feeling of deep, psychological horror. David Lynch never revealed how the baby was made. There are theories that it was a skinned rabbit, a puppet, or even something real. The mystery only adds to the horror. When people first saw the film, they were horrified, not just by the visuals, but by what the baby represented. It's the heart of the entire movie. The way it whines, gasps for air, and constantly demands Henry's attention makes it feel almost demonic, even though it actually never does anything supernatural. Lynch never explains his work, but most critics believe the main plot of Eraserhead was fear of fatherhood. But instead of directly explaining it with a normal baby, Lynch uses this tiny monster. Shockingly, it adds more meaning to the film. It doesn't represent that the baby was premature and deformed, but it shows how unprepared parents see their child. For them, the child feels like an obstacle in their carefree life, and that's why it's the most scary thing for them. It's not a monster, but it represents Henry's deepest fears, being trapped, overwhelmed, and unable to escape the burdens placed upon him. For Lynch, this movie changed everything. The baby was especially groundbreaking. No horror movie had ever done something like this before. It was surreal and deeply psychological. Instead of relying on blood and gore, Lynch used sound design, creepy lighting, and pure atmosphere to create terror. Even today, the baby is still one of the most disturbing creatures in movie history. Modern horror movies rely on CGI monsters, but nothing comes close to the raw, unsettling realism of this strange, wheezing creature. Before Eraserhead, Lynch was an unknown filmmaker working on a passion project with almost no budget. But after this film, he became respected and influential and feared and misunderstood as well. His unique style of mixing surreal horror, dream logic, and deeply personal themes was fully realized in Eraserhead. From his next movie, The Elephant Man in 1980 to Inland Empire in 2006. After what Henry did, the poor baby eventually dies, but Henry keeps seeing his face everywhere before completely losing his senses. In the ending scenes, we see the same planet from the start of the movie, but this time it starts breaking down. Moreover, the man operating the levers also panics by the destruction and screams in pain. The screen turns blank before showing the last moment where Henry embraces the lady in the radiator. Watching Eraserhead is like stepping into someone else's fever dream, one that doesn't quite make sense but still leaves you deeply unsettled. It's definitely not your typical horror movie. There are no jump scares, no slasher killers, no traditional monsters. Instead, it's a film that gets under your skin, slowly, quietly, until you realize you're deeply uncomfortable without even knowing why. One of the things that makes Eraserhead so special is how every single scene feels symbolic. The first few scenes symbolizes Henry's careless behavior towards relationships. He never intended to settle down with Mary or any other girl. That's why the birth of the baby takes him by deep shock. For Henry, it was the most scary thing he's ever seen because it took away his freedom. On the other hand, the lady in the radiator represents his unconscious mind. Her creepy yet innocent face singing the haunting words, "In heaven, everything is fine," makes the scene almost feel comforting at first. But then she starts stomping on strange, fleshy creatures, maybe representing Henry's fears of taking responsibilities. She encourages Henry to get rid of the baby as it's the only way to be free again. In the final scene, she embraces Henry like he has done the right thing. That's how people feel satisfied after doing the most horrible things. Their evil thoughts defend their actions by giving lame excuses. For Henry, he just wanted his freedom back. But what we can conclude here is that if unprepared parents like Henry and Mary bear a child, the one who suffers the most is the poor child. Both Mary and Henry found the escape, but the innocent child was brutally sacrificed. So, why does Eraserhead still hold up today? Because it taps into something everyone can still relate to. It's not just about a man and his mysterious baby. It's about fear, anxiety, loneliness, and the crushing weight of life's expectations. It's about how sometimes life itself feels like a nightmare you just can't wake up from. Some people call Eraserhead an art film, while others see it as a pure emotion, captured on film in most unsettling way possible. And others miss the point and probably hate it because it is pretty raw and very disturbing. This movie isn't for everyone. It's slow, weird, and deeply unsettling. But if you're a fan of surreal horror, Eraserhead is a must-watch. It's the kind of film that you don't just watch, you experience it, and it stays with you long after finishing. From the moment we first lay eyes on the grotesque, whimpering baby in Eraserhead, we're thrown into a world where reality wraps, the familiar turns foreign, and uncomfortable becomes inescapable. That single scene wasn't just a shock, it was a mission statement. Lynch didn't just introduce us to his surreal nightmares, he showed us exactly what kind of filmmaker he was going to become. A master of dread, of mystery, of the spaces between dreams and nightmares. And it all started right here. So the next time you revisit Eraserhead, remember, you're not just watching a movie, you're stepping into the mind of David Lynch for the very first time. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more breakdowns of important scenes from horror movies, please like this video and subscribe to the channel.
Cool.